Row Zero makes it easy to chart big data fast in a powerful spreadsheet. In this video, we'll show how to create dynamic charts from millions of rows of data and set them to automatically update with new data. To get started, I'll connect to Snowflake and import a dataset of 7.2 million rows of US flight data. Row Zero supports millions of rows on a free plan and billion row datasets on enterprise plans. The data imports into a connected table, which maintains my connection to Snowflake and lets me automatically update my data with new data. Next, I'll create a pivot table to quickly summarize my data so that I can create my charts. And I want to look at flight data by month, so I'm going to pull date to rows, and I can select month as my date grouping. And I'm going to pull origin to values, and that's going to give me my count of flights. And I want to look at the sum of canceled flights as well. Now that I have my pivot table, I can easily create a chart on top of my pivot table by going to Insert Chart. And this will dynamically stay in sync with both my pivot table and my connected table. So as any of that data updates or changes, my chart will also dynamically update and change as well. A couple of options for configuring my chart. I can select my chart type. I can also edit the x-axis or series. I can set the color of a series or a color palette for the whole chart. So let's say I want to set a colorblind friendly palette for the chart. I can easily do that. And I'm not seeing much distinction in the canceled data in this chart, so I'm going to update my pivot table so I can look at this data a little bit better. So I'm going to add a calculated column to my pivot table. So let's look at the cancel rate. So let's look at sum of canceled divided by count of canceled, and that's going to give me my cancel rate. I can give this a label and format. Also format these columns, and you'll see my chart dynamically updates with that same format as well. I can double click on my chart to edit it. I'm going to change this series to my new calculated column, the cancel rate. Put this on the right side and make the series type line. And so you can see, even though I'm charting two different values here that have very different scales, because I put them on different axes, that makes it easy to see them both in the same chart. I can double click on my chart to finish setting it up. I'm going to add some labels, so let's give it a title, flight cancellations. And let's say total flights here on the y-axis. And I could set a min and max for the vertical axis, but I'm not going to do that this time. I can also choose to turn on and off the legend and determine where it's positioned. So let's put it up at the top, and it looks pretty good. Now that I've set up my pivot chart, I can really dig deep into analyzing my data. Pivot charts dynamically update in sync with your pivot table and your source data. So as you edit, filter, or update this data, your chart dynamically updates as well. So for example, I can go back to my pivot table and let's change this from months to weeks. And you can see my pivot table dynamically updates and my chart dynamically updates as well. I can also go up to my source data in my connected table, which again is connected to Snowflake. And let's say I'll filter the origin to, say, Minneapolis St. Paul Airport. And you can see everything dynamically updates. So as my connected table updated, my pivot table updated, the calculated column updated, and everything in my chart updated as well dynamically. I can click back into my connected table and schedule auto refresh. So this will update automatically every day at 6 a.m. And also at any time I could rerun my query to get the latest data. And anytime the data updates, it's going to dynamically update the connected table, the pivot table, and my chart that's connected to both of those. This makes it easy to create and automate dashboards and reports. You can also share this workbook and invite others to collaborate. And if I want to take my chart with me, I can cut and copy, or I can download as a PNG or SVG file. So as you can see, Row Zero makes it very easy to chart big data fast and create dynamic charts that automatically update and stay in sync. You can try Row Zero for free at rowzero.io and see why Row Zero is the best spreadsheet for big data.